Bernard, I'm an alcoholic. I have no idea what I'm going to say or none of that, because I don't plan anything that I say, because I understand today it's only by the grace of God that I'm here, even standing here today, because if I'd have got what I deserve, I should have been dead a long time ago. But for some reason, God's grace and mercy was there, because I was one of the alcoholics that bounced in and out of the rooms for a long time. And I never could understand why I couldn't get sober. And the reason why I couldn't get sober, because I wasn't willing to go to any length to get sober. I still had a bunch of mess with me, and I also thought that the world owed me something, for the simple reason that I was so selfish and self-centered, wanting to do what I wanted to do. And if things didn't revolve around what I wanted to do, I had a problem with it. And them issues right there caused me many problems in my life for a long time. My sobriety date is September the 5th, 1994. If I don't die, get drunk between now and then, it'll be 20 years. Now that may not impress none of you, but it really impresses me. Because it took me 5 treatment centers, 2 halfway houses, and many times going to jail before I got sober this last time. I went to jail so many times I don't even own nothing orange today. Because every time I turn around, they was coming and locking me up, and they was picking me up for some reason. And I would always say, why are they always coming picking me up? Why can't they find somebody else to mess with? There's a lot of other people out here doing a whole lot of worse things than me, but why you always wants to pick on me all the time? You know, I never realized that all the time that I cried out being the victim, I was the victimizer. I was the one creating all the havoc and chaos, but yet and still at the time, growing up, and even that point, I wasn't wanting to take responsibility for my actions, and I wanted everybody else to take responsibility for my actions, for the simple reason is because I wasn't man enough to do it. I was man enough to do the thing, but I wasn't man enough to pay the price. And when you didn't pay the price like I think you should pay the price, I had a problem with you, and I said that you didn't like me. Now, I come from a real good family. I'm used to having nice things. You know, I remember Iris when she was a kid. You know, and I remember we used to come up here to Southern Pines a lot back in there before her dad passed away. You know, and so congratulations, Iris, on your anniversary. They say if you want to find your family and your friends, go to an AA meeting. That's where I found Iris at, in the AA meeting. But you know, I always like to read something out of the big book, because I'm a firm believer this is the most powerful, is life-changing program and a set of designs that's set up for an alcoholic that passes all understanding unless you participate wholeheartedly in it and understand the benefits that it brings to you through the experiences that you go through of staying sober one day at a time. I'm a firm believer that. That's why I like what it says. It says that God will determine that. God will determine that. So you must remember that your real reliance is always upon Him, and He will show you how to create the fellowship you have. May I have a napkin, please? That you may have the fellowship you crave. Thank you, sir. It says that our book is meant to be suggestive only. We realize we only know a little, that God will constantly disclose more to you and to us. Ask Him in your morning meditation what you can do each day for the man who is still sick. The answer will come if your own house is in order. But obviously, you can't transmit something that you haven't got. See to it that your relationship with Him is right, and great events will come to pass for you and countless others. And this is the great fact for us. Abandon yourself to God as you understand God. Admit your faults to Him and to your fellows. Clear away the wreckage of your past and give freely of what you find, and join us. And we shall be with you in the fellowship of the Spirit, and you will surely meet some of us as we trudge the road of happy destiny. And may God bless you and keep you to then. That's what the main part that I read in there that I love so much, is that God will constantly disclose more to me as I continue to move through in my sobriety. For the simple reason is there's a set of principles. And they told me that I need to get me a guard, and as long as his name is not Bernard, I'll be all right. You know, and I went through hell trying to get that. Because my first drink was at age 14. And I picked up that Mad Dog 2020. And I used to think that it had grapes, but it didn't. It was grape flavor. I didn't realize that I was years sober before I really found out that there was no grapes in the MD 2020. So that right there lets you know the type of alcoholic that I am. I am a genius. You know, and I would like to say this, that drugs is a big part of my story too. But at the same time, alcoholism and drugs walks hand in hand. But this is an AA meeting, so I'm going to speak about Alcoholics Anonymous, because that's what I choose to recover from, is the book of Alcoholics Anonymous. I'm a firm believer that it doesn't make any difference where it comes from. As long as there are a set of orderly principles set down for me to guide to live a whole lot different than where I used to, I need to follow. And that's how I am about that. But anyhow, by me taking that first drink at age 14, I remember I threw up everything from the time I was born to the age I was 14. And that's when I first started promising to God I'll never do this. See, I don't know about how a lot of y'all got here. But see, I got here by being smart. I thought I was so smart. I was genius. I was so smart that I found myself at 18, 19 years old standing in front of a judge with a 20-year sentence for midnight burglary. And I've come from a good family. I'm talking about where alcohol takes me to a place that beyond my wildest imaginations. I want to stop and can't stop. And I get mad with everything and everybody for the simple reason is that I can't seem to get it. And I remember bouncing in and out of Alcoholics Anonymous so much, and I see everybody else get it, but don't seem like I can get it. You know, and I always used to curse God for allowing me to wake up in the morning. And before I really get into that part, I want to bag up. I remember I quit school. I quit school going to the 12th grade. The only reason I quit school because I was still drinking and drugging. I remember at 15 and a half, 14, I remember having seizures at that early age from drinking that Mad Dog 2020 and drinking that Richards and all that old kind of stuff. See, I'm the kind of alcoholic that when I turn on, I don't cut off and everything is in trouble with me. You know, it don't make any difference where you come from, what you look like, how it was. When I'm on, I'm on. If you in the way, you in trouble. You know, and that's the way I was. But I didn't realize that I was sick. See, I became sick at an early age, at age 14 years old. I didn't realize that I can become an alcoholic. See, because I thought I was unique. I thought I was so special. I thought I was so different that, you know, it won't happen to me. It can happen to everybody else, but it can't happen to me. I'm so special and I'm so different. Well, that's a lie. It happened to me. Because it allowed me to cripple. Every dream that I had got crippled. Every thought that I wanted to do something right got taken away from. Everything I wanted to do in life got stripped away from alcoholism. I couldn't understand what was wrong with me. Because how in the world can you tell me that I allowed something in a little bottle like this that take control of my life and have me laying down sleeping in places with pictures on the wall had turned infested with roaches, and I don't even live like that, and I got to stick my fingers in my ear hoping that a bug or roach won't crawl up in my ear for the simple reason I'm laying down with people and I don't even know who they were, but I called myself I'm all right. I'm all right. But yet and still on the inside I was dying. I remember growing up, if you didn't go nowhere else, you went to church. And I remember coming in, they're going to tell me about, how you going to tell me about a God that loved me, that allowed me to live? I was 37 years old when I came in here this last time. I held a job 3 times in my life for a year. I had 9 million jobs because, see, an alcoholic like me, you go to the temporary service because they don't give a damn whether you come back or not. Then I remember telling lies and stealing all them government checks, and I'm writing checks that I ain't even got no money in the bank. And I'm going around stealing government checks out of the mailboxes. I'm doing all of this kind of stuff. I wasn't brought up like this, but alcoholism carried me to that point. And there was many days that I was cursing God because he was allowing me to live and I wanted to die. The stuff wouldn't kill me, nobody else couldn't kill me, and I couldn't kill me. And I remember I was a grown man and I had to put on this great facade like I was supposed to be so tough. Actually, in reality, I wasn't tough, I was scared. But see, I always had to try to find images in everything, but couldn't find nothing in myself. So I always thought that if I made you see how I am, or if I act like a darn fool, you would think that I'm all right, I'm some kind of good guy, in which I'm not doing anything but throwing my life away. And I was out there in the street. That's where it carried me to the street. I came up in the old school days with the Superfly era. with the sunroof top digging in the scene with the gangster lean. That's how I come up in here. I'm old school. We sit around there with the little dogs up in the windows that be patting their head, what they call them, little Barbie dolls and stuff like that. I remember back in the day when you talk about having gold spoons around your neck that you thought you were cool. You got all these chains around your neck. I got all these chains around my neck, but at the same time I'm dying on the inside. And I'm trying to seek, and I'm trying to run, and I'm trying to do all of this kind of stuff. They're trying to deal on the outside, they're trying to fill the void on the inside because I'm too cowardly to do anything different. But I wouldn't let you know that I'm a coward because I had to let you know that I'm the man. I'm so tough and I'm so much of a man, I'm dying on the inside. But I'm tough. I ain't doing nothing but constantly going back and forth to jail. That's all I'm doing. I'm trying to be hip, slick, and cool in a 5x6 jail cell. I'm staying in jail so long, you become the person that you get ready to get out and you get people all these stuff sometimes. And when you stay up in there a long time, you have these extra jumpsuits they give. You can get extra jumpsuits. And now I'm sitting up in jail trying to find some kind of image. And back in there, I don't know if any of y'all been to jail. But when you stay in jail a long time, like I used to stay in jail, you got to find some kind of image to yourself. So you take the orange jumpsuits and you fold them down and you put a crease in them. And you lay them up under the little mattress right there. And you let them sit up under there for about 2-3 days and they put creases in your pants like this. So I'm pimping in jail with a bunch of misfit fools like me. And I'm trying to find some kind of image. Then you're sitting there and you're doing so bad, I done wrecked my life so much, now I got to take toothbrushes and melt them together with a black comb just to try to brush my hair. I'm talking about living like an animal. Through alcoholism and can't understand what's wrong with me. That's what I'm talking about, where it takes me. And it makes me continue to tell myself lies that I'm supposed to be so different, or that ain't you, or everybody continue to bail you out. Well, my mama left me in jail. She left me in jail, and she needed to leave me in jail. Because the only thing that I would learn is through that I had to go through what I had to go through, and hopefully by the grace of God that I didn't die. See, I know what it is being out there on the street. I know what it is robbing folks up and down the street at night. I know what it is selling the shoes off my feet and walking down the highway at 15 degrees or 20 degrees outside. I know what it is to walk in a blizzard of snow downtown just to get high 2.5 miles down the highway and ain't got nailed down. I'm talking about being caught up in the grips of alcoholism. I'm talking about crazy. At any means necessary, I need to get what I need to get to try to fill the void that I have on the inside. But yet and still at the same time, I don't want to listen to nobody. I don't want to follow directions. See, I got all the answers, and I ain't got a pot to piss in nor a window to throw it out of. But I'm cool. Everywhere I go, I got to lay at my mama's house. I ain't working nowhere, so I ain't got no money. So now my moms go out to a yard sale, and I get pissed with her because she don't bring me a damn chicken box back. And I done went out and I done spent up my whole paycheck, and I done worked 40 hours. Then I tell myself I ain't going to do it this time, and I find myself right back at that crossroad or that jumping off place telling myself that same lie over and over and over and over again. And then at the same time, being young, I was an all-American basketball player. It stripped everything away from me. I couldn't even play basketball no more. You know, I'm a firm believer if I'd have stayed in school, I probably could have had an opportunity at least trying out for a professional basketball team. I wanted to be a state highway patrolman. That got taken away from me. I wanted to be an Air Force fighter pilot. That got taken away from me. All of them dreams got taken away from me for the simple reason I got caught up in alcoholism. I didn't realize this is the only disease that I know the man to tell you that all hell is breaking in your life and you telling lies to try to justify it. Knowing that I'm going to hell in a handbasket, but I'm still lying to myself. It's going to be different tomorrow. Won't you believe me? And I tell that same lie over and over again. And I'm expecting people to believe the same lie that I continue to keep telling. No, I done told so many lies I can't even keep up with them. And I want everybody else to try to understand. And I remember being so caught up, and I call it that quiet desperation. When you don't know how to communicate with nobody and you don't have no coping skills, what I do is then I try to read this like I'm one of them aliens with this telepathic signals, hoping that you can read my mind, and I ain't said a word. But then when you don't do what I ask you to do or do what I think you should do, I got a problem with you, and I tell you you don't love me. And I tell you I don't need you anyhow, so I'm going to walk out and do my own thing. And when I walk out and do my own thing, now I'm pissed off with you because you won't come and help me out. I'm trying to tell you I'm crazy. That's what I'm telling you, I'm crazy. And that's the insanity of the disease. This here ain't no joke, this ain't no game, this is real. People die every day from alcoholism. For the simple reason, as the book said, they are constitutionally incapable of grasping and develop a manner of living which demands rigorous honesty. Then it talks about the reason why I couldn't get sober on the last page. On step 1 in the 12 and 12, it says, who cares about meditation? Who cares alone about prayer? Who cares alone about making restitution for harm done? Who cares anything about a service or helping another alcoholic? No, the average alcoholic self-centered to the extreme doesn't care for this prospect unless they know their life dependent on it. And up under the lash of alcoholism, we were driven to AA, and then and only then did we discover the fatal nature of our disease. So I had to go to pure hell to get it. Everybody don't have to go to where I have to go to get it. This is not a joke. This is not a game. This is real. And that's why I say it's only by the grace of God that I'll be able to be here. Yes, it is Ira's anniversary, and thank God for Ira's anniversary. I didn't come down here for that. I come down here because I needed to live. And if nobody else needs to hear what I say, I need to hear what I got to say, because I need to live what I've been through. To remind me that, boy, if you stop doing what you're doing, you will end up going back doing what you said that you would never do. And that's why I'm here. I'm here. And if I'm here, then that's a wonderful thing. I hear people say sometimes, and this is me. They say newcomers are the most important person here. That's a lie. I'm the most important person here. And if I can help you on the way, that is fine. I'm the most important person in this house. See, because I can get drunk just like anybody else can get drunk. So let's not get this twisted here. But if I can help you when I come, let's do it. But I'm the most important person up in here. Because if I don't take care of Bernard, in my experience, I'm a dead man. I'm not confused about that. Yeah, we need newcomers. They remind me of where I've been. They remind me of where I can come back. And yes, I'm here to provide any kind of service I can, but I'm the most important person when I come up in an AA meeting. Because I need to get me. I don't care how much love you have for me, and the only way that I can get me is I have to get me. They ain't got nothing to do. I'm like Tina, what love got to do with it? Y'all pray for me. Y'all call me up here. Y'all call me up here. Y'all call me. I ain't call y'all. Y'all call me. And it's a wonderful thing that through the coming of this program that gives you a life that passes all understanding. I'm a firm believer that I'm one of the most fortunate, richest man on this earth because I had an opportunity to live 2 different lives. Because when I came into treatment this last time, I was weighing about 130 pounds. You take about 60 pounds off me. I look like them people in Ethiopia. The biggest thing on me was my kneecaps and head. When I got here. You didn't need no x-ray machine to look at me when I got here. Oh, I was up out of here. All you had to do was just get a stick and put me up on there and just do this. And you can see everything that you need to see. And that's the way I came in Alcoholics Anonymous. And it took me 5 treatment centers, 2 halfway houses, and many times going to jail. But I also came into Alcoholics Anonymous many other times. Because, see, I remember the old timers tell me, they used to tell you, shut up, get a cup of coffee, and sit on the front row and don't say anything. I had an old timer tell me one time, he said, Bernard, he said, we're getting tired of you coming to the meeting drinking up all the coffee. He said, you need to do some work around in here. Because see, I just thought that I could sit back and I could rest on my laurels. But my book tells me if I rest on my laurels, I'm taking a chance of getting drunk again. I don't want to take that chance. And what I found out that even though that I felt that I was a misfit, I was a nobody and nothing will ever amount to me in my life, I found out by surrendering to the program of Alcoholics Anonymous, it has given me a life that I see that, damn, I am useful. People used to say I will never be nothing. People used to say you will never have nothing. People used to say, oh, we don't even want to see you coming. I remember people used to shut the doors when they see you coming. They don't want to see you no more. And I'm saying to myself, you don't love me. But see, all at the same time, I'm dying on the inside. And I'm not paying attention how I'm living and I'm hurting. How in the world do I expect for somebody to love me when I can't even love myself? I'm sitting up there hurting on the inside. They say it all the time, hurt people, hurt people. If I feel a bad way on the inside, I'm going to treat other people bad. That's just as simple as that. But the program have offered me something that I never dreamed possible. I never known that I would be able to endure and handle situations that used to baffle me. Never would have known that. I would have never known, nor would I regret the past, nor would I wish to shut the door on it. I would have never understand what it's about comprehending the word serenity and no peace. And no matter how far down the scale that I have been, I found out that I can be useful and I can be helpful and I can do something. That's the way I used to live, but look at how I live today. And I don't let anybody rain no parade or umbrella on me behind the way I used to live. God has brought me from a mighty long ways up here. And because nobody else wants to do anything about their recovery, I refuse to let anybody kill me. I can kill me by myself. I don't need no help. I don't need no help. I don't need Me Too buddies around me. I need somebody around me that's going to tell me the truth about me. I need somebody that's going to be around me, that's going to be there for me and got my genuine love. And no matter how the point is, they're going to tell me the truth about myself. You know, I'm sitting up here, I remember times bouncing in and out. And let me tell you about the Me Too buddies. Me Too buddies are the kind of people that you sitting out there that you know you ain't doing nothing in your life, and you got this fool sitting over here hanging out with you, and you talking about, man, I'm tired, and you got this jackass over here talking about, yeah, man, me too. Now, why do I want to hang out with him? He ain't doing nothing, and I ain't doing nothing. What do I need with him? I can do bad by myself. Then I got the co-conspirators. The co-conspirator is the individual that sit there and coerce you to do stuff that know that you're going to be in trouble and lose everything you got. And soon you do that, he'd be the first one to talk about, say, look at that damn fool over there. And then they'd be the very one that's trying to get up in your house to get your wife or your lady or whatever it is. But they the one that encourage you to do this stupid stuff. And then after I remember doing these things a few times, then now one of them brought me a pack of cigarettes to jail. Not one brought me a pack. Matter of fact, they ain't even send me a $1 card. And then I come up out of jail and they gonna call me their boy. I'm talking about how I lived here. I'm talking about the insanity of being out there in the street hanging out with people that ain't trying to do nothing about their life. I remember so many times that about hanging around with them kind of people like that, I draw the mentality. See, because I realized this. You only going to go high as the people that you hang with. If you hang with low people, you're going to stay low. And I had to learn that the hard way. You're going to call me your boy. You won't even bring me a pack of cigarettes. You won't even bring me no canteen money. But soon when I come out there, you run up there and wants to give me some dap. I'm going to give you some dap. I'm just keeping it real because this is how I grew up. And this is how I come up through the streets. And I'm talking about the insanity of alcoholism and where it occurred me and the beliefs that it had me believing the lie that I was dying all the time. And everything in my life was gone. My wife even left me. 20-some years she gone. Y'all think she ever coming back? I drank her up. She ain't coming back. She been gone this long. Some things just don't come back. But through this program and through a loving God, what happens is that it gives me a whole lot of stuff back. And it gives me people back like you people. You are my family. We are people that normally do not mix. Up in here, there's no first class, second class, third class, or fourth class. When the ship goes down, we all go down. Y'all seen that story about the Titanic, ain't you? When the ship goes down. You got 3,000 people died on the ship when it went down. And then they talk about the band were playing when the ship went down. If there was 3,000 alcoholics up on that Titanic, ain't nowhere in the world all 13,000. Look at here. We are some very resourceful and smart people. All we'd have took the bedpost down and we'd have dropped it down on the ground. We'd have got some napkins or something and we would have stood on it and we would have been blowing because we are survivors. Ain't nowhere in the world 3,000 alcoholics gonna die at the same time. Y'all know I ain't lying. Yeah. Y'all pray for me. But it's real what I'm talking about. And the program of Alcoholics Anonymous and the loving God has afforded me to be able to laugh. It's a freeing and wonderful thing to be able to laugh. Because me as an alcoholic, I have been miserable for a long, long time. Long time. You know, and I thank God, and people that know me know I am high energy. Some of y'all already know that now, right? But I insist on enjoying life like the book talks about. Just because I've been where I've been, and just because I've done what I'm done, that doesn't mean I can't live a quality life better than I lived before. I may not have the fine car. I may not have the fine clothes. I may not have the big time job. I may not have all the titles behind my name. But that's not what makes me. What makes me is who I am on the inside. Alcoholics Anonymous has afforded me the opportunity to be able to be with myself and be in good company. I don't have to have all of these things to show nobody. I don't have to have all of this to prove nothing to you. I can be satisfied with what God has blessed me with because I remember I had nothing. I did not come into Alcoholics Anonymous looking like this. When I came into Alcoholics Anonymous, even though I come from a real good family, I came in with one pair of shoes, couple shirts, and I come from a real good family. Used to having nice things, used to dressing real nice. But coming up in the program of Alcoholics Anonymous on that last run. See, because I remember that last run when I was telling you about the roaches and being infested on the wall. I remember them times being around in all of them places and doing all of these things. And I remember many times I used to curse God for allowing me to wake up because I knew that when I did, it was going to be the same old thing over and over. I didn't want to live the way that I was living, but yet and still I was so caught up in the grips I couldn't do anything different. I always thought that I had to have some kind of willpower, that if I had to will it myself, you know, that it would come to pass. But my willpower didn't do anything but send me around, as the book talks about, being driven by 100 forms of fear and self-delusion. I was like a dog chasing his tail. I couldn't understand, you know, because every time a fear would crop up, there would be an illusion or something that I would project out there that I need to do different. And when that didn't work out, I'd do something different. So all these fears and insecurities and all of these images that I put up in my head, I never could catch up with them. And by never could catch up with them, I felt that I would always be a loser. I always would be a nobody. I would never amount to anything. I would never have anything because I always tried to do it myself. You know, and I thought that I had to be the man. thought I had to be the one to do it all because if it can't get done through me, then it wouldn't be done. But what happened was when I surrendered that night of September the 5th, 1994, for the first time in many years of my life, I fell down on my knees and I asked God to help me. I said, Lord, if you please help me. I say, I promise you I'll do anything you ask me to do. So I don't know about the pain that y'all had when y'all got here. But that was a hellifying pain that I had. And I always have used that as an example that if you cut off both of my legs and drop me in a bucket of gasoline, I guarantee you that the pain wouldn't be that bad. Because I never felt the pain on the inside. And I remember that night of September the 5th when I went down on my knees and I asked God to help me. For the first time in many years, there wasn't a jailhouse prayer. That was a prayer of sincerity. Because I had went as far as I could go. I had came to the end of the road. It took me many years to come to the end of the road, but I had finally came to the end of the road. And I remember that night I was still in a half-drunken stupor. And I went down on my knees. Now check that out. I went down on my knees. See, I'm the type alcoholic. See, I had nowhere else to go but to God. I was the alcoholic that I had to get to God in a hurry. And I need to get to him right now. And that night that I said that prayer, there was like a calmness had came over me. But at the same time, I was still full of fear and I was still scared. And I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't even know if my mom was going to even let me in the house. And I walked back down that 2.5-mile highway that y'all heard me talk about earlier. And when I walked back to the door, my mom opened the door and she looked at me and she said, "Oh, you back." When she looked at me, she just turned around and she walked back down the hallway. Because I came in and that was all she said. For the first time, God had intervened in my life and I didn't even know it. I had a new way of thinking. I had a new attitude. And for the first time in many years of my life, I was willing to do something different. I hadn't had a meal in 4 days. I probably had 2 cheeseburgers in the course of that time. I was always been a very neat and clean guy. I probably hadn't took a bath in 4 days. I'm talking about where alcoholism had carried me. I'm talking about I'm at the end of my road now. I'm talking about I got nowhere else to go but to God or to death. I knew I was going to die. I didn't know when, but I knew it was going to be soon because I almost died at that situation earlier part of that night. But by the grace of God, he led me through. And I knew that was going to happen. And by that calmness came over and I went to my mom's house. When I laid down in the bed and I got me something to eat and I took a shower, the bed seemed like it had just wrapped around me. It seemed like that God had just wrapped his loving arms around me for once. Because I was always on the run and I was always caught up with something all the time. And I told God that if he helped me this time, I promise you that I'd do anything that you ask me to do. I go anywhere that you ask me to go. And that's why I'm here today. I am here today. I don't care. And when I leave here, I got to go to work. Because, see, I can never, ever repay back what's been given to me through you people in the program of Alcoholics Anonymous and a loving God. I can never, ever pay any of that back. And I remember I told my mom when I woke up the next morning that I was going to go to the mental health place. She had heard me tell that same lie 1,000 times. And for the first time in many years of my life, by having that attitude, I walked down that same 2.5-mile highway to the mental health place. That mental health place was sitting in a place where the drug addicts, the alcoholics, the liquor houses, and all of that sits right there where the mental health place at. And all the boys that I grew up with hangs out right there as well. And for the first time in my life, I walked down there. I did not ask my mom to give me a ride. That night, that day, I know that God had intervened into my life. Because when I went to that mental health place, that lady asked me, did I have anywhere to go? I told her no, even though I was at my mom's house. And she said, well, there'll be a 2-week waiting period before you get there. I said, ma'am, I'll be dead in 2 weeks. I wasn't confused about that. I said, I'll be dead in 2 weeks. She said, well, just wait right here. She said, and I keep checking. I sit down in that mental health place for 6 hours. Now, I ain't never sat nowhere but up in a darn dope house or liquor house for 6 hours. But I sat there, and I did not move. And even though by me not moving, there was patience. I realized today there was some patience that he had put up in me, even though that I was still messed up at that time to sit there. Because for the first time in many years of my life, I wanted to live more than I wanted to die. And she told me about that 2-week waiting period. And I sat out there. And she came back up later on. And she asked me, could I go to treatment the next day? And I told her, ma'am, I go right now. That lady got up out of her bed. She came and she went to that place at the mental health place where all the drug boys at, because I know, because I was an intravenous drug user as well as an alcoholic. So I know that area real well, all up through them buildings. But this little lady got up out of her bed, and she lived out of town. And she came in that great big mental health building just to fill the papers out for me to be able to go into treatment the next day at 7 o'clock that morning. When I got sober, I used to stop through there from time to time and see her. And I thank God for her, because when I left the 28-day treatment in Butner, which I had been in that treatment center 3 times, and when I left there, I went 28 days, I went to High Point to current service. And 3 months after I've been there, I went managing current service. See, I didn't pick nothing I do today. I've been working in the field of alcoholism and drug addiction for almost 20 years, ever since I've been sober. I did not pick this. All I wanted was the pain to stop. But what I realized, that God had took my mess, and he has given me a message. And I believe that any alcoholic that's willing to surrender to this program can find a new way of life and be able to live one day at a time in a prosperous life. I don't care who you are. I don't care where you've been. I don't care who you done it with. What desire do you have to want to change your life? And that's what I had to find. And I don't know what it is for you, but I knew what it was for me. I had to go to the end of the road. I had to lose everything around me. Most of all, I lost the self-respect and dignity for me as a human being. And when I went to current service by managing recovery house, I ended up managing a recovery house and helping them build that facility with other plenty houses for 4.5 years. I ended up managing. Now, here's a check writer, a thief, a breaking and entering, and a person that robbed folks from time to time. And now here I am in control and standing up and in charge of some folks' lives. Can you imagine that? You're going to tell me we don't have a good God? But one of the things that I never could get along with God was because I always thought God was a Santa Claus God. Oh, give me what I want, and you need to give it to me right now, and don't wait too late. He doesn't operate. And I thank God that he did not give me what I really wanted, because I may not be here today. Y'all may have somebody else different today if he gave me everything that I wanted. Because, see, a lot of times I go and put the cart before the horse. See, I want everything else to smooth out. But this is a program of progress, not perfection. And I had to learn that the hard way. That's why it says that either we'll pick up the spiritual kit that's laid at our feet, or we'll continue blotting out the consciousness of our intolerable situation. It says that if you don't think that you're an alcoholic, step up to the nearest bar room and try to do some controlled drinking. You might need a good case of the jitters to bring you to a point where you may be willing to do something in your life. That's if you don't die. I never knew anything about that until I surrendered and wanted to do something different in my life. And I thank God for my life today. I don't do everything that I like to do. I don't have everything I like to have. But I tell people all the time, sometimes I be the cleanest, brokest mother hoppers you ever seen in your life. Because that's only by God's grace. And that's not so much of what I got on or what I drive or where I work or none of that. It's about who I am on the inside. For the first time in many years of my life, I like who I am. And when I come to a place that I can like who I am, and I don't have to try to be all this to you and be who I am, because you find out over the period of time, hell, you got people don't even like themselves. What makes you think they're going to like you? Why not like myself? I didn't say be selfish, but this is a selfish, selfless program. The selfishness is that I have to do what I have to do for me in spite of what you think, because I don't care how much love you talk about that you have for me. I bet when they push me down the aisle in that box, I bet you don't jump in it. I bet you that. So once again, I'm like, what love got to do with it? Because I'm trying to live. Because if I don't take care of my sobriety, everything else is going to be gone. That's my experience. Because I used to call myself a chronic relapser. I wasn't a chronic relapser. I just stayed a little time up in here and bought time and went back out and got drunk again. That wasn't I didn't have a program. I didn't get a sponsor. They told me I get a sponsor. I don't need no sponsor. You get a sponsor. They said, well, you need to work the step. I don't need no step. You work the step. See, I was always defiant. See, that's why I was saying we were talking coming up here. In our literature, it tells us one of the greatest things that keep man into everlasting ignorance is contempt, pride, investigation. Oh, it won't work for me. Well, how you know it won't work for you? Did you try it? Well, no. Well, okay, then try it. It might work. And so often in my life, I was caught up in contempt, pride, investigation because I thought it had to be the way that I thought. But thank God that he manifests himself in messages from around other people where I can be able to get something than my own thinking. I'm so grateful for the old timer because they pulled me up to the side, man, and they was hard on me. You know, they told me that I need to stop coming here drinking a bottle of coffee and I need to be of service and I need to start helping somebody. They told me by the times I used to do 12-step calls. We got a lot of treatment zones and detoxes. We don't do that much like we used to back in the day. You know, and for that, I'm eternally grateful for that. You know, because I'm a firm believer this is the most powerful and life-changing program to an alcoholic that ever been. Because I know when it talks about that new freedom and the new happiness. And I know what it means when it talks about nor what I regret the past, nor I wish to shut the door on it. I know what it is when it talk about that I will comprehend the word serenity and I know peace. And no matter how far down I went, no matter what you think about me, no matter what I done back then, it's what I do today that counts. And that's the message that I have for me. It's what I do to count. If people want to live on what I used to do, then you live on it because I'm not going to live on it. Because I'm looking ahead. You can stay in the back, but I'm going forward if I had to go by myself. And that's the kind of attitude that I have for my recovery. Because I know without my recovery, I'm a dead man. Call it whether you want to call it. If I lose my recovery, I'm finished. So I'd rather have my recovery with you gone and still be all right. Instead of try to live up to what you think and lose my recovery and I'm still dead and you still gone. So I ain't got nothing. At least I will have my recovery. At least I will be able to continue to live. And I know if I do the things that I'm supposed to, God will unfold many things for me in my life. I'm very clear with that. You know, he don't give me all what I want all the time. And thank God that he don't. But I tell you, he's always on time. You know. And I realize today, even though through life situations or trials or whatever the situations may be in life, all that is a stepping stone. All that is a preparation for me to get closer with the relationship with God. I got two little quick stories I want to tell you. And I told it last time I was up here. And since that came up, I want to tell it again about that goat. About the farmer had the goat. And he went uptown and he came back and his goat wasn't there. And the goat had fell over in the old dug well. And by the goat falling in the dug well, he couldn't get him up. So he went back to the barn. He got ropes. That didn't work. He went back. He got shovels. That wouldn't work. So then what he did was he just started throwing dirt over in the hole. And as he continued to throw, this is the short version. As he continued to throw dirt up in the hole, the goat got ready to walk out. And he walked out on dry land. And that's what the steps of the program in a loving God does. As I continue to rake this dirt down, I need to pattern my life behind the old goat. And I need to shake it off. And I need to pack it under my feet. And as I continue to pack that dirt that rolls off me up, then I rise closer to the relationship with God. I rise closer to an individual that God will have me to be. I rise closer to do the things that God will have me to do. Because all I'm doing is using the principles of this program, and I'm shaking off the dirt that I had on me, and I'm packing it under my feet. And as I continue to get cleaned up, I continue to rise up. And that's what happened with the old goat. But then there's another story that I got to tell. And this one here is about the snake and the frog. I got sober with the good old boys. And they gave me all these stories, so I tell them everywhere I go. But anyhow, I'm getting ready to go to my seat. There was a frog sitting out there on the log one day. And as he was sitting out there, he was cooling out. And then he heard the snake come through the woods. So Mr. Frog said, well, Mr. Snake said, well, why are you making so much noise as you come through the woods? Well, he said, well, my vision bad. So Mr. Frog said, well, why don't you get you some glasses? Mr. Snake said, well, I can't get no glasses because as I go through the branches and the limbs and stuff, it knocks my glasses off. So Mr. Frog said, okay, well, why don't you get you some contact lenses? So he said, well, okay, that sounds like a good idea. So they went on about 3 weeks, and Mr. Frog sitting out there on the log cooling out, and he heard Mr. Snake come back through the woods again. So Mr. Frog said, Mr. Snake said, how's your vision? He said, my vision is fine. He said, but Mr. Frog had done something special for me. He said, it done something special for you? He said, yeah. He said, it enhanced my sex life. Mr. Frog said, now how in the world do a set of contact lenses enhance your sex life? He said, hell, I found out I was sleeping with a water hole for 3 years and didn't even know it. That'll sink in on you by the time you get home.